brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Welcome to the Dynamic Hour again. Another opportunity that you and I have to engage, to converse, to talk about what's happening here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And we are no longer just focusing on the negative things. We are also heavily looking at some of the good things, the positive things that are happening in the country. But while we do that, we also seek to educate our people. We also seek to dispel the rumors, the misinformation that's out there from different groups within our society, because there are still people among us who do not want good for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, and there are those who are egoistic. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be featured, and all they say is I. You get that from them very often. When you're in a leadership position, it's about teamwork to make the dream work, and not just I. So we have to be cognizant of that reality and do things that can motivate, educate, and empower people over a period of time. Because I always start this program by telling you it's a journey, right? Let's go on that journey. Let's engage. Let's learn together. That's really the trust as we move ahead. I want to encourage those on YouTube and Facebook. Please share the live. Sharing is caring. I want to start off this morning in terms of the meat of the conversation to say to you, I had the opportunity to listen to the GBN To The Point program yesterday. So I went back overnight into this morning and I listened attentively to that interview the host had with Brian Grimes, who is the president of the Public Workers Union. And what I gather from his interview, from his statements or comments or answers given to questions and so on, is that the union seemed to be very greedy. That is what I get from his statements. We got some stuff, but we want more. And you must give us more or else. That is what I got from listening in to this particular interview. And it made me somewhat concerned because under the NNP, they were getting very, very little. They got very, very little. But here you had a very ungrateful union leader on a program not even openly acknowledging the benefits, the many benefits derived in the last 17 months in a profound way. But instead, he came across as greedy. We got and we want more. And the government must give us more or else this would happen. And these things tend to step in when you get too much too quick. You get too much too quickly in a very short space of time. The union, together with the membership, got $75.1 million in pension and gratuity, retroactive pension and gratuity. Their members retired, and for many years under the NNP, they did not get their pension and they did not get the gratuity. The NNP was in power for 23 years and a half. Not only that, under the NDC, the unions didn't have to go out on the streets to demonstrate for their pension and their gratuity. The government could have dragged this thing out, even if the court ruled in favor of the union and the workers. The government could have dragged the thing out. Don't believe because you got the $75.1 million easy. It means that that is what would have happened if the NNP was in power. No. In fact, Keith Mitchell spoke about what his party will do once they form the government regarding pension. And it was not as clear as the NDC. In other words, the NDC said, we will pay even if we have to take a loan. We will pay you. I think the NNP said they would start off by paying some, and then if the finances of the state improves, then they would do this and they would do that. It was like they would pay in tranches or installments and that kind of stuff. It was very unclear, the direction that they would take. But definitely, it was not one that the union and the membership would have wanted. So you didn't have to march for it. You didn't have to fight for it. You had only recently, you were given 13% increase plus fringe benefits. So 13% increase in salaries over a 3-year period, 4%, 4%, 5%. And you also got fringe benefits that you were not even able to negotiate for or even talk about under the NNP time. You got all of that. The NDC administration is also reviewing the minimum wage to increase the wages of workers in the country across the board. The TAMCC workers who were protesting for weeks and weeks, they got $22.5 million or so dollars. And that ended all this protest and protest. The $1.2 million that were given to workers whose salaries were docked by the NNP when you all went on the streets and protest for your pension and your gratuity, the NDC paid that back. They didn't have to do it. The court ruled against paying it back. But the NDC did what was moral, what was just, and they paid that back. The NDC is regularizing workers in a phased approach, of course. The first 300, then they go to the next group of workers and the next group of workers. Everything cannot happen instantly. The free tuition policy is benefiting workers too. They don't have to get that $810 to pay TAMCC for the kids. No, it's benefiting them too. Then you look at the bi-monthly salary payment, twice monthly payment. Workers don't have to beg to make it till the end of the month. They get their money twice, right? So it baffles the mind how these union leaders, not all of them, but some of them, could be so ungrateful But you see, when you give them everything one lash, so you pick up a woman, for example, or you in a relationship with a woman, and she used to wear dog muscles or hula hoop, and immediately you bring her to the manicure, pedicure, the whole thing, the whole works, the saloon, everything like that. They scrub her heels, change her nails, put her in high heels, right? Do her hair up, do her nails and everything up. And then you bring her to the dentist, teeth, and so on and so forth. You bring her to the masseuse and, and you just a total makeover. Then she start taking that same shoes and kick you with it. Then she start getting bright. She start doing things left, doing things right. And you could say the same thing for a man, right? I'm only using the woman here, but you could say the same thing for a man. So everything came quick. The benefits came quick. All these things are given to them quickly by the NDC. So now they're using that to see how they could undermine the NDC governance and legitimacy, in my belief. So sometimes you have to be gradual. It has to be a gradual process. And that is what the NNP did to these people. Over a period of time, they really make them catch their tail. They had to beg for it. They had to match for it. They had to fight for it. That is what the NNP did to them. And in fact, they became afraid of the NNP. And with fear comes compliance. They were fearful, so they complied on every single thing. They were scared. They were fearful, so they became very much obedient, and they fell in line most times under the NNP. And that's a fact. They had to match for everything. When it came to increase in salaries, they had to match for it. When it came to pension and gratuity, they had to match for it. When it came to everything, just match and match and protest and protest. But under the NDC, everything coming just easy, easy breezy, easy, easy peasy. And as a result, there's this ungrateful feel that we are getting, that people are getting. The sense that, we want more. We must get more. Give us more. It is sad, but it will happen, and it must happen, because the NDC style of governance is different from the NNP. You have to go on your knees, you have to beg, you have to plead, you have to fight, you have to demonstrate, you have to do all these things under the NNP to get it. But the NDC is just smooth. You're just getting this and you're getting that and you're getting this and you. So then they became very ungrateful. And we are seeing it playing out publicly. They come across, some of them, as very ungrateful. But not only that, they do not have the gall, the balls, the intestinal fortitude to acknowledge that the NDC is really the game changer. If it was not for the NDC, all these gains and all these benefits would not have come their way. So listen, firstly, to this piece. Just listen, firstly, to this piece. Because this individual was hesitant to give credit in this particular forum to the NDC for paying the pension and the gratuity. Listen.
Right, we have to be involved in it. Just this morning, I was looking at my Facebook gave me a little memory from 5 years ago. We were in the heart of tongue, meaning all the unions, not just PW, marching for our pension, right? Unfortunately, in 2022, we were able to see the courts, right? The courts gave judgment in favor of workers, and today, people, once you retire, you're able to get your pension. So the struggle, sometimes it seems as though it's far away, but that memory made me understand that you have to embrace the present struggle, because in the future you will get a reward.
You see, you listen attentively there. He's saying, well, we struggled and the court gave a ruling, and as a result, we got our pension. But here it is. The NDC didn't have to honor what the court said. And in fact, they could have done so and come up with a strategy to pay. They didn't have to pay all the money one time, Sometimes these guys believe that they're smart and they're speaking to an audience who don't understand all of this. So the court gave a ruling, but the NDC administration decided we will pay in full the gratuity owed to these workers and the retroactive pension owed to these workers. We are not going to come up with any formula, with any piece of this or piece of that. And let me try to get what Keith Mitchell was suggesting or proposing for this whole pension payment thing, right? So you have to bear with me because I didn't have that as part of my programming this morning. But I think it's important for you to hear from him, right? What he too had to say and what was his suggestion. So let me play a little video.
Inakaniba, liba, ooh, we are Grenadians, so are you. I love spice, where everything is nice. Grenada, may God bless you. Stepping off the plane, it's so easy to breathe again. Life in the big city has finally took its toll. And it's been so long, but I'm finally home. What better place to rest my weary bones than in this beautiful island, where there's so much to see. Every corner I turn, there's something else to remind me of this beautiful nature and what it means to me. Not a thing out of place, that's what's special about it.
So thank you very much for your patience there, and because I am the host of this program and also the producer of the program, sometimes I have to, impromptu as the conversation flows. I would, kind of take a little time to download something or slip in something here, there, and everywhere, because my whole aim is to educate, to motivate, to enlighten, to disseminate credible information, and foster that higher level of reasoning in programming, in podcasting, in talk radio. So I did not listen to this piece, but I just pulled it out from the internet from GBN. So let me try to let me just feature it and see what it says. I want to hammer home a point.
During his national address on Tuesday night, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell reiterated that government has taken the decision to not appeal the recent pension ruling, despite strong legal advice that there are good enough grounds for an appeal. However, the Prime Minister added that not appealing the judgment means that government will have to pay out millions of dollars to public servants, which, if not managed strategically, can completely derail the country's economy.
Regarding the issue of payment of state pensions, unless we manage the process well and set out a viable roadmap under which the state could meet its obligations, it can completely derail the economy, sink thousands into dire poverty, and set us back many years and cripple the future development plans.
Dr. Mitchell provided preliminary figures of what the payout would cost government.
While the fiscal obligations of the court ruling are still being tabulated, preliminary indication, and these are just preliminary numbers, are that we will have to find at least $465 million. Sisters and brothers, take that in. $465 million. That's not all. And then on average, we'd have to find $120 more million each year for at least the next 37 years.
Prime Minister Mitchell says government has also set up a broad-based advisory committee that will provide further technical advice and other general guidance on the issue.
They will use their expertise and experiences in studying the entire issue and the decision that the government has made, with an objective to make specific recommendations to the government on how we move forward. That committee will be headed by economists and experienced global public.
Okay, so we get a little sense there, but I wanted where he actually spoke about, the phased approach and what would happen and that kind of stuff there. Let me still look.
The new National Party says once voted into office, a number of public servants will begin to receive their pension from government. The announcements were made by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell on Sunday in St. David's. Government estimates that the reinstatement of pension for public servants following a court ruling is estimated at $465 million as a one-off payment and an additional $120 million annually. However, Dr. Mitchell confidently said payments will begin later this year.
All entitled public officers appointed by the Public Service Commission who will retire in 2022 at the legally accepted retirement age of 60 will be paid their pension during this year, 2022, when the budget is being presented for 2023. At the end of 2022, those public servants that will retire in 2023, the pension payment will be in the budget document that we will bring forth for that year. So those in 2023 will also be paid their payment, sisters and brothers. As regards to the pensions that are outstanding and are due to those who retired long before this year, we will have a phased approach for payment consistent with the national cash flow, and that will be announced shortly, sisters and brothers.
Right. That is exactly what I was looking for. All right. That piece there is exactly what I was looking for. So he spoke about 2002. Those who retire in 2002, they will be paid. Those in 2003, they will be paid. Right. It will be budgeted for. But those before, and the majority of people were actually before, all right, there will be a phased approach to their payments based on the country's cash flow. Let me play that again. That's important. Very, very important.
That are outstanding and are due to those who retired long before this year. We will have a phased approach for payment consistent with the national cash flow, and that will be announced shortly, sisters and brothers.
Right. So Brian Grimes believes that he's smart and he's the smartest piece of thing out here. I could have just gone back to that. So in him speaking, my mind clicked on that particular piece by Keith Mitchell. So the NDC didn't have to go with just paying those who retired for the many years their pension and their gratuity. They could have taken an approach like Keith Mitchell and the NNP to pay those who were retiring, who retired in 2022 and 2023. And then those who retired before have a kind of phased approach based on the cash flow of the country. So, look, folks, sometimes we get too much too quickly and we become ungrateful. I shared the analogy of a woman who you pick up or you enter a relationship with. She wears a dog muscles or a hula hoop slippers. You bring her to the salon, do up her hair, the nail tech do her nails and do, scrubbing of her heels and dials her up, nice up. She started wearing high heels and she, the bravest thing, the boldest thing, then she starts doing all kind of thing on you. Because she's comfortable. She get everything. One lash. Yeah. One lash. That is how this union leader is operating and conducting himself, in my opinion, in my belief. Which is sad. Grateful. Be grateful for the many blessings that the workers received in recent times. The pension and the gratuity, that's a big thing. Yes, big. But it was because of the NDC. You got that money. Not because the court ruled in favor of the unions. So they pay. No, sir. If the NNP was there, workers all up to today who retired 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, would not have received their money the way they received it. One lash, one lick from the NDC. So sometimes these guys believe that they're smart, they're bright, and they know what they're saying. But here you have Kem Jones, a simple person, dissecting what this guy said and putting the evidence on the table that it could have been totally different for workers if the NNP was in power. You heard what Keith Mitchell detailed there and how this thing going to run. Firstly, Keith Mitchell, in my opinion and belief, was disingenuous to the Grenadian people and the workers to say it will cost on preliminary assessment $465 million. That's one off. And then it would be $120 million every year, on an annual basis. That was a blatant lie, in my belief. Right? We found out it cost government $75.1 million. That's it. And every month, the workers who retired, they collect their pension until they die. So, folks, I am saying, if you listen to Brian Grimes, firstly, he didn't want to give credit to the NDC administration for that. He was very hesitant. So he spoke about the code decision and the unions fought and and now they're enjoying it. So they get the pension and the gratuity. It was because of the NDC. If the NDC was not in power, you would not be speaking that language today. If it was the NNP, you would have been still fighting in the streets for the people who retired before 2022 for their pension and their gratuity. But we'll deal with that. That's just the tip of the conversation. Let's move to another piece. I'm going to deal with that because, you see, you have to educate our people on what it could have been like because they have gotten so happy, so excited, right? They're caught in the moment. Everything coming easy. Everything coming easy. It's like I had a nephew here and I overheard him in a conversation saying to some friends, well, you see, I ain't no bill to pay, no boy. I ain't no bill to pay because he was living with me, based on the distance because he working in the hotel and so on. Because I, try my best to honor the bills, even if I have to pay it in pieces. So what I did, I said, okay, I ain't tell him nothing. He ain't a bill to pay. So then I start to control things. When in the room, I cut off my light. Right? Say, brother, time to cut off the light. When I finish in my studio, I cut off my internet. Right? So then he had to go and get internet on his phone to operate. So he started to pay bills now. When I cut off my light, you get the little light. When he charging, I say, man, you have to sort out your thing. And then you have to buy a charging port. Right? Because he ain't have bills to pay. You pick up what I'm saying. Then when I cook, say, nah, man, I'm a family. I'm cooking for my family. Yeah, I just giving you an insight. I'm cooking for my family. Right? So when I start to cook for my family, then you have to buy things to cook now and cook. And then I say, well, you have to buy gas to cook. I mean, you're here. You don't have no bills to pay. So you start to buy gas, honey. You take it from there, step by step by step. And then he realized, boy, this thing requires you to pay some bill and have some commitment and be serious about it and be grateful for what you're getting. You see? And then he started to man up and realize, but that's me. I'm firm, I'm straight. I'm telling you what I did. I am firm and straight up. You ain't paying bills? Okay, I go make you pay. Right? And within no time, he moved out. So by my mother. And then said to my mother, well, I used to pay the electricity and the water home since I started working years ago, every month, no matter who is home. That was my commitment. And the internet. So what I did, I said, well, he's working now. He's living with you now. Let him pay the electricity. There's a nice TV in the room and so on. Right? Let him pay the electricity bill. If he ain't want to pay it, cut off the electricity inside of the room. Yeah, and let him get some solar thing to watch the TV. You see the point? And let my other sister, let she pay the water. And let the other one pay the internet. In other words, that is what you got to do. It's simple. Some people may not like it, but that's what you have to do. Because some things come too damn easy. It's too easy. And that is what we are seeing playing out with these unions, It came so easy and so that they're greedy. They want more, the unions. They want more. Give me more. I want more. That is exactly what is on display. I want to share my personal story there with you so you could understand. And that's how I think. That's how I operate. I'm very firm, If you don't know, that's Kem Jones. What you see is what you get. I'm very strict on that. But some things come too damn easy. So these people are caught up in that moment. We want this and we want that. Give me that. If it was the NNP, they had to be on the street backing and kneeling and fighting and with their bubuzelas and their whistle and the drum. They didn't have to do that for the 13% increase in their salary and the fringe benefits that they came forward and praised the government for. They didn't have to do that. No. You remember Brian Grimes? Man, the man came forward and he praised the government. He was happy. The man was excited. It was a historic signing agreement. You remember that?
I want to get into the whole package. In my view, yes, we did not get all that we asked for, but I think this particular negotiating cycle, this particular period, has been groundbreaking, right? The first thing in terms of big ticket items, I want to speak on it because it's important to celebrate our victories, small and large. This is the first fringe benefit agreement we would have had in over 10 years. That is very, very significant. I think both the employer and the unions and workers should be happy about this. Very, very importantly, and I know I was speaking to a contract worker up here, this package has in it a clause stating contract workers will get the increases, even fixed term contract workers. This is monumental. This is groundbreaking. In the past, we have had very, very serious battles with the past administration in terms of members of our bargaining unit being left out in terms of their ability to secure increases. So having now enshrined in our agreement stating that contract workers will get it, it may have some administrative hiccups in terms of, you have a little extra work to do, but I think it's worth it in terms of the justice and the equity across the public service. So this is tremendous as far as the union is concerned.
Right. That's Brian Grimes. That's Brian Grimes there. I will continue. Brian Grimes was on complaining about this person or that person, that worker didn't get that 4% and so on and so forth. But here he's admitting there will be some administrative hiccups and little issue, but it's worth it. And eventually they're going to get it. You see? It's amazing. Sometimes you got to listen to these guys, go back and listen to them. That's what you got to do sometimes.
There are some other items here. Nurses have been clamoring for it for an extended period of time. Free medicine at the hospital. All our friends in the police service. I'm not going to call them the police force, the police service, the Prime Minister. Yeah.
Yes, the police is here.
Yeah. So nurses and doctors will be able to get free medicine, right? And this is something, like I stated, they have been clamoring for years. So now it has become a reality. It has come to fruition. Very, very important, and this one is very dear to me, the ex gratia. Unestablished workers are going home at times with sometimes embarrassingly low monthly payments after they would have retired. One something, whatever it is, 300 if some are lucky. But now, the Grenada Public Workers Union have negotiated with government, and government have agreed that the minimum unestablished workers will go home with, the bare minimum would be $500. It is a step in the right direction. Right? Last but not least, I'm not going to speak about the uniform allowances and so forth. We have, should I? No. Yeah.
No.
All right, okay. Last but not least, very, 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 very important is the fact that this government has agreed to pay in terms of our health insurance, because we have a medical health insurance with Sagico, 55%, and the members will pay 45%. This is significant. In the past, the government used to pay 50%. They are now paying 55%. But apart from that, there were changes that had to take place with the plan, amendments to increase the schedule of benefits, and we were not getting that traction in terms of cooperation in the past. But now we have a situation, a positive situation, where government say, listen, health insurance is not a luxury, it's basically a need, and we're going to make it affordable for the members. So very soon you'll be hearing us coming to you members, aggressively marketing this very important instrument for your good. So our health insurance will be on the up and up going forward, thanks to this particular agreement. So I think we need a table knock for that also. And I think I should mention it, the last thing. There is a clause in there. Nobody wants to die or prepare for death necessarily, but there is a clause in there that if one dies in service, your beneficiary will be able to get your salary for 1 year. These are important. Family is an important institution, and if something happens to you, you would
Okay. So that's Brian Grimes, huh? You didn't realize that? That's Brian Grimes talking about all these benefits and all these things that were derived by negotiation and the government agreeing to this and agreeing to the NDC is talking about the NDC administration, not the NNP. He made a reference of all the struggles and all the fight they had to, go through the previous administration and they did not even bother with them and what's to that effect. It's amazing. But this guy, this egomaniac was asked a very simple question on that program yesterday. Right? But before I play that, I want to again play Brian Grimes speaking about pension. All right? I think that's important.
This administration must be given tremendous applause and appreciation for the work they have done regarding the payment of the retroactive. Of course, we know about talks about pension reform, but we have ran the first leg and we have ran it well, and hundreds of people, in fact thousands, the whole of Grenada is happy for this because the retirees, they also have families and people are looking on, and I think it does a lot for social and economic justice in this country that the retroactive payment has been made.
It's right. So Brian, I wanted to feature. That's Brian Grimes, praising the government about pension and other things like that. But here it is. He was asked a very straightforward question: are workers better off now than 2 years ago? Are workers better off now than 2 years ago? You just heard Brian Grimes speak about all the benefits and what they were able to get and but here, this guy paused the longest in his entire interview. That was the longest pause he took to actually answer that question, Not only that, it was I. This guy's running for something or what? He has intention in running for something? Listen.
Let's talk a wee bit about workers for a wee bit. Your take. Would you say workers are better off now than 2 years ago?
Well, GT, I see you trying to put me on the spot, but that's okay. That's part of the menu when you come on GBN. As you can tell, I try my best from the position I sit to be as objective as possible, right?
Right. You recognize the pause? You recognize that pause? Let me start that over again. A very straightforward question. And you realize?
Let's talk a wee bit about workers for a wee bit. Your take. Would you say workers are better off now than 2 years ago?
Well, GT, I see you trying to put me on the spot, but that's okay. That's part of the menu when you come on GBN. As you can tell,
you see, the longest pause in that interview was that, a very straightforward question: are workers better off today or now than 2 years ago? It's and look at the pause. This guy should be straight away able to mention all the benefits that you heard a while ago when the historic agreement was signed. So what changed? Were he losing his mind? You see, these guys have sinister intentions, hidden agendas, in my belief.
Would you say workers are better off now than 2 years ago?
Well, GT, I see you trying to put me on the spot, but that's okay. That's part of the menu when you come on GBN. As you can tell, I try my best from the position I sit to be as objective as possible, right? When good happens, you say, well, this is good, and we're happy for it. And if something that is there that concerns workers, we also speak to that. So in the last couple of years, I can say the workers are getting very stout representation from the union, you know, with myself and the whole executive and everybody giving their best.
Then he goes on to take praises with the union and, you know, representatives and I again. And, you know, yeah, that's the guy. This guy is an egomaniac. This guy is all about himself. You don't realize that? All the benefits that he spoke about earlier, the man I mentioned that yet. That's how he functions. It's sad though.
You know, in the media, behind the media, wherever it is. So we have seen some good developments. For example, the pension.
Yes.
That is an incredible generational something that we
Right. So then he moves now to the pension. All right.
have been fighting for the
That we have been fighting for the last
30-something years as unions.
So that's a plus.
That is a plus. That is a great plus. And then what we have seen as a plus also is that there are attempts, not attempts, we are in full force, full gear towards a minimum wage review to be implemented in January of 2024, right? And I actually sit on the minimum wage.
Right. And he goes back to and I actually sits on this minimum wage committee and it's I. Something is wrong with this guy. I'm telling you.
Wage Advisory Committee, and this is something I've been advocating for a while.
Right. And this is something that I have been advocating for a long while. And I. The union have to be very careful with this guy. I'm telling you. It is sad. Look how long this guy paused. But let me play another piece for you before I wrap up that segment, because I want to prove to you that the union, this particular union leader, they come across as greedy. They come across as glut. They want all now. It's just 17 months into NDC being in power, you know. They want all. A little damn greedy. Some of those union leaders, not all, some. To glut. To greedy, man. So listen this. Regularization. Listen.
We understand that about 300 workers will be regularized in terms of by Christmas, right? And when we speak about regularization in that context, it may not be like a contract worker becoming permanent, but it will be in the context of a public service commission worker acting in a position, being confirmed in that position. So with our bargaining unit, there are different layers. So they are doing the easy regularization, people who act in a higher position and you confirm them and things of that nature. So yes, that is a positive. Another positive.
You see, he trivializes the regularization of this 300 workers who are in acting positions and so on. He trivializes that. He doesn't see he doesn't see this as a biggie. All right, so he just pushed it aside. But it's regularization. It's in 3 phases, where they regularize those who are acting and temporary in different positions. They're regularizing them. They're public servants, but they're acting in this and acting in that position for years. That's the first set of people. And then they move to temporary contract workers, that kind of thing, right? Paid for service workers, that's in 2024. And then in 2025, then they look at Imani trainees and that kind of stuff. So he just brushed it aside. And not only that, he's making you believe, well, okay, just 300 workers, so what? You know? But all the workers will go through the same process where they're going to regularize those who meet the criteria. It's simple like that. It's amazing. But let's continue to listen to him and what he had to say coming to the end.
Is that, and this is something the union has been pushing for a long time, the years that were temporary or unregularized, that's for people who are contract and will now become part of the PSC on the establishment, that will be considered for pensionable purposes.
All right. So you can't get all in a negotiation. And he needs to know that. So they're regularizing workers. There's about 2,000 plus workers, almost 3,000 workers or so, who are not permanent within the service. They're either acting here and acting there, temporary, on some contract, some letter, some without letter, but they just there without any security of tenure. So they're regularizing them now in phases. But what the government is doing, which is a really good thing, they could have just regularized them and say, you worked 10 years ago, but we are regularizing you now. We're making you permanent now, so that 10 years you lose it. The government decides, no. If you started working 10 years ago, and yes, we are regularizing you now, we're going to make sure that that 10 years is carried on. So when you reach the age of pension, it will be a part of the whole pension package. So if you have to make 26 and 2/3, 26 years and 8 months, if you already make 10 and you were not permanent, we're making you permanent now, but we're going to add that to it. So you only have to make 16 years and 8 months again to get to qualify for your pension. That is what it means. So it's a big thing. The government didn't have to do it. They could have just started from now. You got permanent right here. So here it is. That's not enough for him. The regularization is not enough for him. With the 300 people, they started with in the first phase, and the government making sure that the years that the people worked before and they were not permanent, they were not regularized, they will not lose it. They're going to get that as part of the package in going forward. So as though they started working permanently 10 years ago, even if they were not permanent 10 years ago. I hope you understand. So listen to it.
All right.
Right, so they don't throw away the years. So if you're working 10 years temporary and then they regularize you now, they're not going to start you from year one to say, well, all the 10 years can't count for pension because you have to make a certain amount of years to be pensionable. So those will be counted, and this is something we have been pushing, and we got confirmation from officials that those years will be counted. Where we having an issue is how it's being done, because normally if you make someone permanent and you regularize them, you go back a little retroactive, a little bit back, so that they can get some monies for that back period. This is the tradition of regularization. In the past, unions have made concessions with that, where you don't go all the way back, but you maybe go back for a year, so that person could get a year difference in terms of
Right. So you see, he's being greedy. He wants all. He wants everything. The whole cake. He wants to be the hero. But in negotiation, there is compromise. You can't get all. So he's saying, well, you should give a little retroactive too. Give some money for the amount of years that they were not permanent, and give them, go back a year of this, a year salary or whatever. Give them money, give them this, but the government printing money. But here you have 10 years you were not permanent. In the first instance, the government didn't have to regularize them. The government could have just continued how the NNP was doing it and put them on contract or make them temporary. That kind of, the NDC could have just left them just like that. The NDC said, no, it's a campaign promise. We're going to regularize workers. We do it in 3 phases, right? But the NDC could have done that and not include the amount of years they work, the amount of years they serve, They could have regularized them from today. So I make you permanent from today. All the 5 years you work, that's not my business. Because you were not permanent. You were temporary. The NDC said, no, we're going to include that 5 years in your years of service. So if you have to make 26 years and 8 months, that is counted into that 26 years and 8 months for your retirement and for your package. You see? But he ain't satisfied with that. He's saying, well, pay them retroactive for the amount of years that they serve. Give them this and give them. What you want? You want the whole hog? It's ungratefulness. That is exactly what they become greedy. They become glut. And that is why I shared the analogy with you. Your friend with a woman. She wearing hula hoop slippers and dog muscles. You decided, I will bring her to the salon, bring her to the hairdresser, the nail tech, the manicure, the pedicure special, the masseuse, and you will give her a real makeover. You scrub her heels, you put on nails, you bring up to the dentist, you clean teeth, you polish, you whiten you. Okay. Tutus, she in high heels. She taking that same shoes and she kicking you with it. That's how these guys are acting you. She started to get bright. She going by the neighbor. And then tutu, she start to hunt. She start to do this. Yeah, they get bright. But if you gradually, matriculatively, over a period of time, right? You do X, then you move to the next. You do. But what the NDC did was to give them all one lash, one lick. They got everything. Yeah, everything came. It's amazing, you know. And that's human nature. That's how they respond to niceness and goodness and genuineness, for want of a better word here term. Sincerity, right? That's how they respond. If you too quickly transform them or give them these benefits, they're coming back and they're spitting on you. They're kicking you. That is why the NNP's style of governance was different. What they did when they won the election, they do one or two little things in the first year. Then they grind the nation. They pressure the people for the next 2-3 years. And then when it comes closer to the election, then they start doing little projects again to sweeten the people. Make all kind of promises and so on. They win the election, then they do the same thing over and over. That's what they did. And they had the unions fighting and wrestling and marching and demonstrating and workers on the street. Because they knew if you pressure these people, they're going to submit. They're going to kneel. They're going to bow. And this is historic. This is the nature. This is history. You can go back and read and you're going to learn that. They pressure you into submission. And then you become fearful and then you toe the line. Because if you speak too loud, they will take you out from the port and dump you in the stadium, in some little room in the stadium, because you are a custom officer, right? A senior custom officer. They remove you from there and they dump you in a little office as some little boy, some little officer in some damn room. And then you get fearful, you get frightened, because the next time they're going to take you and they put you in WAMAS on Perseverance to check the trucks who come and dump the garbage. So you're afraid. And then they take the woman in the union who are always accused of eating a dictionary and they dump her in a little room as some communication officer or something inside it. And she's frightened, scared, because she wanted to be PS in the Ministry of Education or some senior person there. But she's stuck. All out she eat the dictionary. You understand? They become fearful and frightened and afraid. And that's what they did to them under the NNP. Under the NNP, they were afraid. So they beat them into submission. That's exactly what took place. But you know, the NDC now, everything came easy. In the last 16, 17 months, they paid them gratuity, $75.1 million, 13% increase in salaries, 4%, 5%, all the fringe benefits that you heard him, you know, show up praises on the government for. And then you the 22.5% for TAMCC workers. Then you had, it's important, huh? Then you had the minimum wage. They reviewing the minimum wage to increase salaries for them. Then you had the regularization process started, the bi-monthly salary payment. Everything just come easy. Anytime you see things come easy like that, look out. Ungratefulness, bad-mindedness, recklessness. That is what would step in. Anytime you see people getting things easy, look out. They become wanton. They become irresponsible with their conduct, with their behavior, with their spending, with their everything. That's how they become. And that is what you're seeing here. Irresponsibility on display. You can't run away from that. That's what is happening. That's why I gave you the example. I told you. I had some friends by me here, you know. I had my nephew, my good nephew. You know, he's the red version of me. And you know, he walk in and that distance and say, "Boy, I live in a place here and I have an empty room. Come, you go stay." So I overheard him saying to some friends, "But I ain't no bill to pay, you know. You know, I ain't no bill to pay." I say, I ain't tell him nothing there, you know. I say, okay, oh, you don't have no bill to pay. All right, okay. So when he start going in the room, the lights on, cut off the light. I say, time to cut off the light. Charging, remove the charger. Say, no, no, no. So you go take me electricity out to pay the bills. You understand the point? And then you know, you food and no, go and cook your food. And then the gas, I say, no, you gotta buy your own gas. Start to get bills, man. And the internet, I just cut off the internet from here. Cut it off. So you don't get his own internet and put your own data, pay your bills, right? And then when he go in the shower and he bathing and so on, I say, man, you're using my water too long, man. Huh? Bathe faster than that. And then you realize that, yeah, you realize the bills, boy. I study and I have to pay the bills, and some I have to pay my bills in pieces. Don't believe that I normally just go by Grand Lake and just pay, and I pay. I go by the only bills that I normally pay in full is, you know, like flow, because you have to pay it in full and they disconnect you. But bills like Nawasa and electricity, even sometimes the guy in Granite Town, I can't pay him all, I have to pay in peace. The radio, peace, and that kind of thing, you know, peace, and you take it easy, and you man go like, oh, I like a thing here still, you know, sometimes my landlord things tight. I say, but I can't pay you all one time. I say, give me a couple of days now, and you, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not easy. These things don't happen overnight, so it's tough, right? So then I say, okay, and then gradually, you start to pay, and more responsibility and more this and start flowing in. And then when he end up by my mother now, I say, okay. I used to pay since I left school, you know, I started to work and so on, paying electricity and water for my mother consistently. So all up to that point when I stopped, said, okay, you working now. You're up there now. You have to pay boss now more money. Okay, you're not by me. You understand? You have to pay more money now to go to and from work. And then you're in the house. So pay the water bill, pay the electricity. And then my next sister, she has to pay the water. And the other one, you pay the internet. Pay it. Responsibility. Yes. Yeah. So now he managing, he budgeting. He understands now what is responsible. But the unions, they get everything easy, everything coming easy for them. They have to march and fight and in the streets. And blow bubuzelas and whistles and baba and beat drums and pan, and they have to do that. Under the NNP, they have to do it. Yeah. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to hammer home here. These guys are becoming ungrateful. They get everything too damn quick and too easy. It should have come with some struggle for some of them. I'm telling you. And I maintain that. In fact, when I meet some of those senior guys within government, I would tell them that some of these things come too easy. Everything just one after the other. So they become ungrateful. And then longer you go in your tenure in the governance process, then they become so impatient. In other words, they get everything already. Let's cause chaos and anarchy. Let's cause confrontation. Let's cause problems. Let's do that. That is what would happen eventually. So any little thing, they out with some placard or some picketing, any little thing that you could sit and hammer home and resolve. You're out by some damn thing outside, and you some placard with your donkey conduct. You understand the point? You have 11 workers in a mental hospital, psychiatric hospital. You could have sit and iron out these basic things, but you out there with some placard with them. You know, 5 not there, 3 not there, 4 of them not there, but the few that's there. And when you check it out, what cell phone, this and basic things that you could just iron out and walk out. But you want to show people that you're protesting, you're demonstrating. You know, that is why in some countries, boy, what good to say, good to keep. All right? So, folks, I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. I want to say to you, we still have tickets for my event. In fact, we have 27 tickets left for the event. All right? 27. Let me check my phone because sometimes somebody send me a message asking for tickets. I just saw my good friend Veronica called me there. Say, hey, Cam, I told you was 9 tickets yesterday, and it will be 11 to 10. All right? So 11 to 10 at $200 and 1 at $300. All right? So that's my good friend Veronica Thomas, my darling. She sent me a message. Hey, Cam, I told you it was 9 tickets yesterday, and it will be 11 between 10 to 11, but you know, it's 11-10. So between 10 to 11 tickets for $200 and one for 300. All right. So me and we spoke before. So I would have to add at least 2 more tickets. So we're down to about 25 tickets now. All right. Let me see here. Punk, my good partner Punk. Hey, I'm serious, you know, bro. I need 2 tickets. Yes. Punk, my good partner. Yeah, you safe. All right, you safe. Give me some. Give you some. I'll give you some money soon. All right, yeah. Punk, you safe. Tessa Ann Alexander was a me parties was a good morning, Kem. Can you put aside 2 more tickets for my family members, please? Yes, Tessa Ann, I putting 2 more tickets away for you. So that's you had 2 already, so that's 4. Well, 2 at 350 now, because you know price is going up. All right, so that's 25, so that's 23. All right, Punk 2, that's 23, that's 21. All right, 21. All right, good. So we are down to 21 tickets for $350. All right. So we are down to 21 tickets for $350. That's all. After that, it's done. It's no more. After that ticket finish, you finish. No more. All right. Then it's all about event and collecting from the people who, you know, yeah. After that, that's it. Gas, all right, done. You finish gas, all right, done. Right. Nice. So remember, the event is at Radisson Hotel Crown Ballroom from 7 to 12 on the 9th of February. On the 9th of February. All right. Entertainment, boy, it will be nice. You don't have to go into that. It will be real nice. Then during the daytime, you come at my place. Once you have a ticket, free oil down, and you add a little soup or 2. We'll do a little soup too. We'll make it nice, right? So who don't want a long, they might get a pea soup, a dry pea soup with some, you know, pigtail and pig snout and thing, right? And then maybe we do maybe a cow heel soup. Yes, Christine, you can right came Saturday at Ricky's to pick up. Yes, right. So Christine St. Louis, my good partisan, my good friend. Yeah, you can pick up your ticket there. I'll call him because he doesn't have ticket selling. I'll call him and tell him, or I'll drop it off and tell him give you if I'm not there, right? Because he doesn't have tickets. I'm the only person selling tickets. I'm the only person who knows who get tickets, and I write them thing down. So I'm the only person doing that. Not even online. So that's how big this thing is, you know. Meaning that I don't need to advertise this thing on any radio. I'm not advertising this thing on no other radio station like other people would do, you know. Only on this platform and this radio. That's all, right? Right. So then I could maybe do a little Sikiat and Lambi. Ira, yeah, Ira, my good friend. A little Sikiat Lambi, you know, seafood kind of thing. Could do that too. Nice it up, you know, so you could and drink your rivers, your babash, Mountain Dew babash, your bushrum, right? Your Jackayan, your barrel jack, your El Dorado, your khaki class coat, different class coat product and so on, and you know, the wine, water, whiskey, Jameson whiskey, Jack Daniels, you know, them kind of thing. Whiskey of the place, and we're gonna mix it up. All them different beers and Guinness and da 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 da. So you go nice. That's at my place. All right. That's at my place. Right at my place on the lawn. I'll transform that. You know, we go. Have a nice time. Drink, eat, laugh. Have a wonderful time at my place. So from 10 the day until 5. You go nice. You go real nice. So I look forward to having you, and only the people with tickets will be able to come. No one else. No outsider. Meaning that if you have your ticket, you can't come to my event at my place. I'll have a security out there saying, well, you have to. Hello? Hi? Hello? Hi, good morning. Good morning. I didn't hear. Hey, Brenda wants to shot me. What? Yeah, I'm coming up to Grenville sometime. Well, St. Andrew sometime this week. During this week, sorry. All right.
Let me know when you, because you know I have the business place in Grenville. I will
Right.
come down. Tomorrow I have to go into Grenville because I have a doctor's appointment at
Right.
10 a.m.
Right. So don't worry.
So,
Once I come on that side out, because I have to check out a couple people up there. All right. So
okay.
let me say today's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So maybe tomorrow, Thursday or Friday.
Okay,
I
then.
would be up
You
on
gonna
that
give me
side.
a shot before
Yeah,
you
man.
come,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've had to walk down there to meet you.
No problem. I'll link you up. Or you have to walk. I will
Okay, my
come and meet you where you are. All
You'll
right.
come and meet me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, darling.
All right, sweetie. Nice.
Have a blessed day.
Same to you. Great.
Okay, Dad.
Nice. Yeah. So that's a good friend there. She paid her first $100. She's a shot near. Paid her first $100, and then she has a second 100 to pay. So she, honest people let us deal with you. Deal with honest people. That's what's nice. So I'll be up St. Andrew side. I'll make sure that we do it as we go. Folks, take good care. Let's wrap it up now. I'll be back with you tonight. Tonight starting from 8 in the p.m. And I ain't done with Brian Grimes yet, with all the nonsense he said there. We have to go back and show people that it would have been totally different if Keith Mitchell and the NNP was in power, right? For workers. So don't get too overzealous, because that is what you display now. Don't get too overzealous. All right? Folks, take it care.